boy's first flight was a shock. He discovered that all flights at the airport had been cancelled, but not his. The flight had been brought forward to 9:25 a.m., which corresponds to his date of birth. Alex didn't think much of it at first. He was about to board the plane when lightning suddenly struck. Seeing that the cabin door was broken, Alex began to feel uneasy, but he got on the plane and wouldn't come down. Alex had just Saturday down when two women asked him to change seats. Although Wayna told Alex to ignore her, Alex kindly Saturday down next to Wayna. As soon as he Saturday down, he saw a broken tabletop fall. Alex was in a bad mood and asked the flight attendant to change seats for him. By this time, the flight attendant had already closed the cabin door. The plane took off slowly and bumpily. No one had any idea that danger was on the horizon. Just as the plane was in full flight, the cabin suddenly began to shake violently. Suitcases fell from the shelves as everyone reached for their oxygen bags. The plane's fuselage suddenly shattered. The passengers seated at the windows all fell. The fire broke out and no one in the plane escaped. Fortunately, what happened was only a dream, but Alex wakes up to find two women asking to swap seats with him. Just as in the dream, he rushes to Wayna's seat and finds the desk just as it was broken in his dream. He immediately tries to leave the plane and fights with several passengers. A few people were kicked off the plane, so they were angry and kept blaming Alex. As they argue, they realize that the plane has exploded and shattered the airport windows. Everything that had happened in Alex's dream was about to happen. Although they had dodged a bullet, death was still trying to take them away. Can a man targeted by the Grim Reaper survive? At night, Wayna goes to the bathroom. Suddenly, the pipe began to drip and water ran across the floor to his feet. As he reached for his clothes, he slipped on the water and fell into the bathtub. Wayna tries to get up to save himself, but the bathtub is full of spilled bath gel. He tried to call for help, but was unable to wake his father, who was asleep in his room downstairs. Wayna died in agony. The water then flowed onto the floor and back into the pipes as if nothing had happened. When the family found Wayna, he was a cold corpse. Wayna had recently survived a plane crash with 7 of his classmates, but the Grim Reaper had marked each of them for death and was ready to take them all. Since Winnie's death, Alex's premonition of Winnie's unexpected death is too strange, so Alex took his beloved Claire to the funeral home to find out the truth about Wayna's death. But when they arrived, the two men were overcome with fear when they saw a man coming out of the house. It turns out that the Grim Reaper has hatched a death plan to take revenge on the 7 men. Alex was so frightened that he left the scene in a hurry. However, the man's true identity is that of a death henchman. After leaving the funeral home, Alex talks to Claire about how to avoid the Grim Reaper, but Carter, who had survived, saw the scene. Carter had always hated Alex and started insulting him in the street, but Carter's girlfriend was angry and walked slowly to the middle of the road. And the next thing she knew, she was meeting God. But death's revenge was just beginning. Can a man targeted by the Grim Reaper survive? As she pours water into the glass, the bottom suddenly cracks. The water spilled from the cup into the running microwave. The woman watched the microwave emit white smoke and slowly approached to check. The next moment, the microwave exploded. Her artery was cut by the glass, and she tried to cover the wound with a towel. But as she reached for the towel, a kitchen knife fell out. At the moment of the explosion, the woman stopped breathing. Everyone thought it was an accident, but they didn't know it was the Grim Reaper's plan. For the Grim Reaper has set his sights on this group of plane crash survivors to exact his revenge on them. After learning that the woman was dead, the 4 survivors had to look for a way to make death crack. The driver became agitated and drove the car onto the tracks. He tried to escape death by committing suicide, but the others, terrified, hurriedly opened the doors and fled. They saw the train approaching and urged the driver to get off. Although the driver didn't get out of the car, he saw the train approaching and was frightened, but he couldn't open the door or unfasten his seatbelt. Fortunately, the train arrived and Alex rescued the driver in time. Although the driver was saved, another man died. As the train sped along, a piece of iron on the ground struck the man in a vital spot. They realized that one death follows another. The 3 men flew to Paris, thinking they had escaped death, but Alex's face instantly turned serious and he tried to move out of the way. A bus suddenly passed and crashed into a roadside stand. Before Alex could react, the billboard upstairs suddenly collapsed. Shrek saved Alex by pushing him away. Although Alex was saved, Shrek did not escape the catastrophe. The Grim Reaper takes everyone according to his plan, so that no one is left alive. This film tells us that we don't know which will come first, tomorrow or the accident. Cherish the moment, be kind to your family, be kind to yourself. After all, you only live once, and you should leave any regrets.